You're throwing those swerve questions.
Can you wait till I ask a question, guys?
You didn't answer the question directly.
Oh my goodness, we're talking Hall of Fame careers here at this table, multi-championships, tag team, individual, you go across the board. These guys have done it in the world of wrestling, and they've also seen the film, the movie, The Wrestler. And gentlemen, I'm just gonna ask you right off the bat what you thought. Brutus, please.
Well, I've known Mickey for quite a while. We go back a ways. I was very, very impressed with everything I saw. And it really impressed me was the dramatic end of it. And more so, I know his capabilities as far as athleticism and everything goes, and his boxing and things like that. So that didn't surprise me as much as the dramatic end and the real tugging at your heartstrings and the things that he was doing on camera there were incredible.
Dallas, what do you think about it?
I think Mickey really, he's a method actor, and he became one of the boys, from his checkered past, like everybody knows about. I mean, to me, he's always been one of the boys. He just, now he just put on the muscle and got in the ring and did his thing, and I thought I was really surprised. It's really hard to do what we do. I mean, it's an art. And I was really surprised how strong he looked in the ring, and you cared, A lot of times they say, before we go out in the ring, before we go out in front of 20,000 people, we know that they know, and they know that I know, and I know that they know that they both know that me and my partner know who's going to win before we walk out there.
Right.
How do you make them care?
Right.
That's the art, and Mickey, I think he got that.
The show that Mickey put on, obviously with the help of producer-director Darren Aronofsky, was fantastic. Roddy, you've been a part, as you said, of wrestling for many, many years. Did he did the two bring that vision true to form on the film?
The first thing that struck me with The Wrestler was when I first broke in, it was like all the old timers from the Gorgeous George era. And that's the first thing that struck me. And they were coarse, hard teachers. The one thing that Mickey did, and I don't know how he did this, as you see us sitting around here, when he was outside the ring, somehow he picked up, he was gentle all the time. We're all pretty gentle when we get outside the ring. And Mickey captured that moment, and it's probably, from a character study, probably one of the most astute moments I've seen an actor bring into his subtext. I'm very impressed with it.
I really got into character. Lex, what were your emotions when you saw it?
I just saw it, just got done viewing it, and I got choked up emotionally because my well-documented crash from fame to shame, so to speak. I had not a midlife crisis, I tell people. I do a lot of faith-based speaking now by God's grace and mercy. But once the Lord, Jesus Christ became my Lord and Savior and took over my life, I say Jesus saved me from myself. I was at a point in my life where the relationship with his daughter, which mine is still trying to be reconstructed. The relationship with the fans, which they've been awesome to me and supportive, but it really touched home close to me. I was an '80s wrestler when I broke in, and it's so closely parallel to what I've experienced firsthand in my own life. They did an amazing depiction. It was outstanding. It was superlative. The guys hanging out, because we got to work. Normal people got to work at 5 p.m.
Right.
A lot of times, even try to time with the strip clubs, because people go, "Why do y'all go out to strip clubs?" Well, a lot of times, 11 o'clock at night. When you get out of work, it's not a restaurant you're going to. The only thing open a lot of times almost was the bars or strip clubs. Right. And a lot of times the guys that had there is one big dysfunctional family on the road 3 nights a year. And it captured so many things. I just got done watching it. I got choked up.
Riveting.
Yes.
It gives you
Absolutely.
goosebumps, guys. And Hammer, if
Fantastic.
You will, I know that you're, generations of wrestling in your family. Is it pretty true to form? And what did you feel?
Well, I enjoyed the movie, of course. I met with Mickey Rourke, and we talked about 3 hours in Miami Beach, and I gave him a famous DVD of me wrestling Roddy Piper in a dog collar match. And I said, I know you're a boxer and you're in shape, and wrestling's been called fake and all this kind of stuff. You watch this match. I always mixed wrestling with boxing. That was my style. I said, watch that match. And I think he must have, because it portrayed, that the ending is set up, but from the bell time to the ending anything could happen,
Right.
and these guys are in great shape, and you can get hurt really bad.
When you see the action that occurred in this film, people often, Greg, you just said it, that the wrestlers are considered actors.
Right.
But I don't buy that. Dallas, just tell me, how physical is it?
Now I've got 2 torn rotator cuffs. When he started going through his injuries, I just popped when he said about
You probably go down the table.
yeah, absolutely. This table, forget about it. You know, I've had 2 knee surgeries, my ruptured my L4 and L5. And I do a lot of inspirational speaking. And I speak on the concept of living life at 90%. The formula being life's 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. So when I talk, when I'm in the middle of my talks, at some point I talk about wrestling, and I say, you know, when you got 265 pounds of stone cold, or 7'1", 500 plus pounds of a big show crashing down on your body, you can't fake gravity.
Right.
You know, we're out there when it's red light time. Everyone knows what that means at this table. If we're in a house show and there's just like there's independent shows, we're gonna give it a good match. But when that red light's on, shit's coming. It's coming, and it's coming snug, and it's physical.
Wrestling and acting couldn't be more different. Acting's implosion, wrestling is explosion. So if Clint Eastwood on a 40-foot screen went, wah! That doesn't work.
Right.
He just twitches his eye. So to have wrestlers compared to actors, after I did a film called They Live in New York, they did a thing on it, critics, and the headline was, anybody that thought wrestlers were actors, watch Roddy Piper, you're wrong. And of course, my great acting career from then on, of course. You know.
We all know
Yeah.
what happened after
Well,
that.
Acting's all about frames and staying in the camera shot. And wrestling, you don't care. I mean, you're pretty much in the ring, so you're in the camera shot anyway.
Right. There's no faking the kind of action that goes on in the ring because you have 20,000
Well, if you chop
people.
somebody as hard as you can across the throat, you know, he don't have to act.
Right.
It's your imitation of Roddy Piper, wasn't it? Yeah.
Look,
Derek, I'm a prime example. I know Dallas, you always called me the cyborg.
He was a
Because I'd go, I don't mean it as to put myself over. We came from the old school, all of us, where the show must go on. My Hiro Matsudo, I'm very appreciative, who broke me into business, said, great man, is not with us anymore, said, if you can walk to the ring, you can wrestle. I think all of us embodied that. But as we all know, the aches and pains catch up. I just had I've been Shepherd Center a year ago, paralyzed from the neck down as a quadriplegic, and they said I'd never walk again. By God's grace and mercy, I am. But we all have our stories we could tell about injuries that we had. It's a cumulative, like a train wreck, and the film captured that very well. And the aches and pains and things we go through physically. Fans say, "Oh, that wrestling, you must have butts." It's all fake. The outcome may be predetermined, but to get there, and we're also all competitive athletes.
Yeah.
So when there's a pay-per-view and the fans are out there, a lot of times we ad lib. And you may have a point A to point B to get to, but man, we want to top the match before us, and it gets competitive, and we do things out there from the top rope to a table, and we don't know whether we're going to land right. Lord, I hope I land okay, because it's not an exact science. We don't say cut like in the movies and put a mattress underneath us for our fall. When you see us go from the top rope to a table, we do it, and man, you say, I hope I land okay. And a lot of times you're also depending on each other to help each other, take care of each other, right, guys? Absolutely. And that's not an exact science, no matter how hard you try.
Right.
It is so. I played professional football for 7 years, and after an NFL football game or after a pay-per-view, there's more guys going to the hospital, more serious injuries in the locker room after a pay-per-view than there ever was in an NFL football game, considered the most violent sport there is.
I really
Real or fake?
understand
That's
that.
real.
Understand that. You can't fake a diamond cutter. You can't fake somebody getting across the chops, like Greg just said. Bruce, outside of the ring, though, how real was this film in terms of what you've seen in professional wrestling behind the scenes? Because many fans don't know from that perspective.
Well, the business, you know, as you progress through it, and you know, I started in 7 years basically to get to a point where I even got a break. So there's a lot of traveling, there's a lot of downtime when you are by yourself, and you find, you know, and sometimes even your own family alienates you from, you know, because of the wrestling stigma, or the, you know, and you're out traveling, you spend a lot of time alone, you know, you have a lot of time to think, a lot of times you're hurt, you're struggling daily basis to try to get to the to the gym and get your workouts in, and because your elbows, your knees, your back, your neck hurts so bad, but you drag yourself in there night after night after night to get to the ring, and it's always a struggle, and it's a mental struggle as well as a physical struggle.
Enough sleep. How many times you guys gone to the next
No
day,
sleep
flying
for
from one
days.
continent to another? We go night to night. We go 17, 20 straight days in a different city every night, sometimes a different country.
I'm just now. I'm just now.
I don't know how we did it.
Just now.
Yeah.
Just now. You know, and I'm still doing a lot of traveling because I'm gonna go to Iraq, see the troops out there, go to Afghanistan. Me and Hammer went to Afghanistan together.
I felt like I didn't sleep for 15 years. Once now that I've slept a little bit.
But still, all that traveling just screws your whole brain up, you know. And the pains, the aches and pains, you know, going to bed, waking up.
Is that why you're such a wacko?
That would be
Perfection nickname.
Of course. You guys are international stars as well as national stars when it came to wrestling. How did life transfer once you decided to get away from the main spotlight? Was it easy for you?
I'm still touring. I'm going over to Australia and New Zealand for the WWE. I'm still on contract
You're still
with
in.
them. Yeah.
But Roddy, you've seen some of the guys do that transfer once they're no longer in the spotlight. How hard was it of a transfer of life?
See, we become a brotherhood outside the ring because nobody else will take care of us. Once all these gentlemen here, when they get in the ring, they give it 110% every time. Well, there comes a time, it's just, you know, nature by God, when you can't give it that anymore. But to you, you're giving 110%, but maybe you're 75 because you got on. So what happens is some promoter says, we're through with you. So it's not a plan.
Right.
All of a sudden, I got 4 kids and 2 grandchildren. You're through with me. I'm 38 years doing this. Let me get my job application. I can drink a case of beer, drive 100 miles an hour.
Great resume.
You know, yeah, that's my resume.
I can go through a table from the top rope.
Absolutely.
Got
So
any skills, job skills.
it becomes. See, the movie, I hope, brings the respect to that because it becomes a choice of necessity. Because we don't have a pension.
I think this movie will increase the awareness of there needs to be an after program for guys who work at Sackrace, because there isn't a formal structure for a union or a pension plan for wrestlers and stuff. And there's not. And I think there needs to be financial planners to work with the young wrestlers. I have the highest hopes for today's wrestlers, so they don't make the same mistakes our generation made, both with no performance enhancing drugs, which I'm a big advocate of now. I go and speak out and tell them what nutrition and training can do now drug free. So I think in USA Today how they're going to be able to detect growth hormone. That's going to be big in all sports.
Right.
They're going to be able to detect growth hormone because drug abuse was rampant when I wrestled, and now is one of the biggest abusers of it. And I'm very thankful that I don't have any lingering effects from all the drug use I did on the road and things like that. But yeah, it's the transition from the limelight and traveling all over the world into mainstream society, into another career. I haven't seen that many very smooth ones, to be honest with you. Mine sure hasn't been. It is now, but it wasn't before. What about health insurance, guys? When I was wrestling, we were in the same category as boxers and NASCAR drivers. And since we're independent contractors, you'd have to pay for it yourself. Most of the guys wrestled all those years with no health insurance because it was so expensive.
Wow.
Well, they say wrestling is fake, but you can't get insurance.
Right.
So
Good point. That's the point I was making. You put it much more
You
succinctly.
know the other one that's great with that. You know, wrestling is fake, and you go someplace, and there'll be some guy that's spent a year in the gym, and he wants to try you out. He's had a few drinks, you know, and so then he's laid out, and 6 months later in court, they go, yeah, but he's a professional fighter.
All right.
Hang on.
You can't have it both ways.
No,
can you?
Yeah.
no, but they tried it.
One of my favorite things is how do you fake the chair shots? I just
You
go,
don't.
Yeah.
you don't.
Exactly.
It's not checkers, bro.